Welcome to today's brief update on how the One Big Beautiful Bill has impacted the estate planning landscape in California. My name is Scott Judson. I'm the managing attorney of the Sacramento office of Bold, Polisner, Maddow, Nelson, and Judson. I presented a webinar on an introduction to estate planning for the University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources in November 2024, and this brief update expands upon that webinar. Now we're going to talk about the One Big Beautiful Bill that I'm sure you've heard about in the news. It was signed into law July 4th, 2025, and its main purpose was to extend and expand upon the key provisions of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Now, the key areas of reforms that apply to our circumstances for estate planning, there was changes in the estate and gift tax. There was real estate and SALT deduction changes, or the state and local tax deduction changes. There were changes as it applied to business succession planning, as well as there was an income tax simplification. The idea was that it created long-term certainty for us as taxpayers, as estate planners, and as individuals here in California. Now, there were a lot of other components of the One Big Beautiful Bill that were talked about a lot. We're not going to talk about those here. Those include changes to Medicaid, health insurance, SNAP, Social Security, education, housing and infrastructure, and corporate tax changes. But we're not going to talk about that here. Here we are focusing on estate planning and tax situation. Again, it was signed into law July 4th, 2025, and it extended key provisions and expanded upon key provisions of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. It made permanent lower income tax rates from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. For us, the big thing is from an estate and gift tax exemption perspective. It raised the estate tax exemption to $15 million for an individual and $30 million for a couple. Inflated, it adjusted for inflation on that 15 and 30 beginning in 2026. So that $15 million number and that $30 million number is going to go up, assumingly with inflation. Also, especially for us California taxpayers, but also in a number of other states, there was a change to the SALT deduction cap. So previously, we could only deduct on our federal taxes in California up to $10,000 of our state and local taxes. Now, that was raised up to $40,000. So that is a big, big change. Also, there was a change to charitable deductions where you can donate $1,000 and deduct $1,000 above the line or $2,000 for joint taxes. Also, effective 2025 through 2028, individuals who are age 65 and older may claim an additional deduction of $6,000 or $12,000 total for a married couple where both spouses qualify. The deduction does phase out for taxpayers with modified adjusted gross income over $75,000 or $150,000 for joint filers. The taxpayers must attain age 65 on or before the last day of the taxable year. So that's something to really think about. Now, what this did is it allowed us to make changes to how we think. Pre the One Big Beautiful Bill, we used to say, hey, you have to do estate planning and gifting in 2025 because the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is going to expire, everything's going to sunset, and we're going to have a lot of issues figuring out what the future holds. But now the message has changed. The message is ensure that your estate plan is updated because there is this large exemption of $15 million for an individual or $30 million for a couple. And so what you want to do is look at your estate plan, if you have one, or if you don't have a current estate plan, get one that looks at your distribution plans, especially outdated distribution plans that may misallocate assets. You also want to align your trust terms with current and future exemption levels, right? That 15 million and 30 million is very different from the 5 million or even 500,000 in the past. And with this, really, you want to form your team. You want to consult with experts, whether that's estate planning attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, to tailor strategies to your unique financial and family goals and navigate those local tax rules and legislative changes. We want to do this while we keep in mind the goals of estate planning. Remember, an estate plan altogether is a set of documents that work together to enable you to control your assets, protect yourself in the event of incapacity, care for your loved ones, and ensure your wishes and values really endure. You want to minimize the costs by avoiding probate, eliminate or reduce estate taxes where applicable, and really, you want that peace of mind. You want to feel confident that your affairs are in order. So this was a really quick update. I want to encourage you to contact your financial advisor as to how the one big beautiful bill impacted your taxes and estate plans. Contact a financial advisor, contact a CPA, contact your attorney. Should you have any questions about your estate plans, please email me directly at sjudson@bpmnj.com. Should you have any feedback about this webinar or questions about the University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources, please contact Scott Brayton with UCANR Development Services at sabrayton@ucanr.edu. And with that, I wish you a very happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, and we will talk to you soon.